Today, we are going to upcycle this sweatshirt. We are going to need some fabric. Let me show you the fabric that we will be using today. We've got this fabric right here, this one right here, and this one right here. Now, what we're going to be... What we're going to be doing is putting little diamonds at the bottom of... You can't see the bottom. Here. What we're going to do is be putting little diamonds on the bottom of the sweatshirt. So it's just going to go all the way down and kind of turn it into like a little mini dress sort of thing. Whoa. This is an inspiration from one of the videos that you guys have watched. You did pick it for your best, so I'm going to go ahead and recreate it for you. What we're doing is taking these little diamonds that have their top cut off. This is the shape. And we're going to sew them gathered to the sweatshirt. And we're going to place them all gathered around it. First, what we need to do is have some coffee. This is really good. Stuff. Next, we need to get our measurements. So let me grab my handy dandy measuring tape right here. What I did is I cut out a diamond first and then I cut the top off of it. So basically I took and I measured a little bit up higher to account for the part of the diamond that I'm going to cut off. And then I measured all the way down about where my knees would be. So it ended up being about 16 inches long. Here is my diamond cutout. I measured out a diamond that was 18 inches. For the width of the diamond, I made it 10 inches. That was just my own guess. I just thought 10 inches would be perfect. The width of the area that is cut off for the diamond is 3 inches. So that is how you determine how to make your diamond. So using my pattern here, I traced out all of the pieces that I needed. Now the next question is, how many pieces do you need? After cutting out the diamonds, I pinned it gathered right where the seam is on the sweatshirt. And since I'm using 3 colors, what I did was actually pin all 3 colors up here to see how wide that was. That ended up being about 3 inches wide once they were gathered. So one gathered piece would equal the width of a whole piece. So 3 inches was the width, and then I took and measured around the waist. This waist is about 36 inches. So that is really handy because 3 goes into 36. So then what you want to do, divide 36 by 3 and that would be 12. So that tells you that you need 12 pieces of this fabric for each color. So when you're done, you're going to have kind of a kite shape. And I'm curious if this thing will fly. Did it fly? Alright, so after you get all of your pieces cut out, the next thing you need to do is we're going to iron 2 sides under because we're going to be hemming the sides. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead now and turn the edges of the bottom full triangle down. And the edges that we're going to be sewing under are actually the point part. So this part right here, we're going to need to hem because that part is actually going to be sticking out. So we want it hemmed nicely. Now next you want to take and turn this middle part, this little pointy part up so you can finish hemming the rest of it. Alright, and now we need to take it over to the sewing machine and sew it. Once you get to the point, make sure your needle is actually in the fabric. Lift up on your foot and continue to sew with the foot down once you've got it turned. Now we have our 1 piece sewn, 1 down, 11 more to go. So let's go ahead and sew them right now. The next thing we're going to do is sew these together. Pin pretty side to pretty side. We'll place the diamonds on top of each other. And we're going to be pinning each side together. So we want to make sure that it is even with the bottom part. Alright, so next what we're going to do is use either a overlocker or sergers. So I'm going to use the serger stitch on my machine. It looks just like a serger but it doesn't cut. And I'm going to use that to do my edges just so they don't fray out. The next thing we do is sew more together. So we open this up, take the pins out, we open this up, we grab another piece. Make sure that you are alternating your pieces. If you're using 3, then make sure you're alternating 3. Make sure they go pretty side to pretty side, and then pin and sew the next side. So you always want to start with the side that we just hemmed as the side that you start sewing on, because we want to make sure that those sides actually match up. we have these 3 done, and all we need to do is sew the rest together. We have it done. All of our pieces are sewn together. We're going to make a long stitch that goes all the way around our pieces of fabric. And we're going to do it with the longest stitch because what we're going to do is actually pull it to gather it together to make our little skirt sort of thing that goes with our sweatshirt. So I'm going to go ahead and do this inside out, and like I said, we are using the longest stitch possible, and then we are not going to back stitch on the end. So this end will back stitch, but the last end we will not be back stitching. Alright, so now that we have everything gathered to where it's just about right, make sure that our ends of each side are sewn under, and then we're going to start pinning this to our jacket. So we have our sweatshirt right here, and we're just going to turn it inside out. Now we want this to kind of look like it's coming out of our jacket from underneath, so we're not going to sew it together pretty side to pretty side. We're going to put the pretty side on the inside and sew it that way. There's my mouth talking. So I'm going to start right at the zipper and pin it around. I'm pinning it about a 1/2 inch up from the bottom of the jacket. I'm going to go ahead and finish pinning this, and then we will get to sewing, and we are almost done. So I have it all pinned together here, as you can see. So our very next step is to get to sewing. So let's go ahead and get to sewing this on, and then we will do the final reveal. And the way I'm going to sew this is I'm going to have it right side out, and I'm going to sew it on top. And there are 2 lines on this jacket, 2 little seam lines, and I'm going to sew on the bottom line. My machine does not like that little zipper piece, so I'm just getting it past that. Just for the record, I just fell over, so hang on a second. Let's get this baby turned on. Oh. It's not plugged in. So, I have like the worst cramp in my foot right now, but we're going to continue anyway because I love you guys so much. Can you see me? I'm Dr. Seuss, I'm not a moose.